All right, count me in with the audio when you're ready.
All right, I'm good to go.
All right. Well, count me in
So
then.
one, 2, 3, record. How's that?
Yeah, there we go. Count me in when you're ready. I'm ready.
I I I didn't know if I was doing the count in or I'm just here.
Okay.
Today was my last day at work, so well until next week.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say
I,
whatever.
I'm teaching summer school, so it's like,
Oh,
well,
okay.
we're out for summer break, but
No, okay.
no, we're not. We're
Yeah,
not at all.
we've got a 3-day weekend here this weekend, so
Nice.
yeah, boy.
What holiday do you have going on?
Oh, it's just we just call them bank holidays. Like you
Right.
guys, every time you have a public holiday, it's always like a thing. But
Yeah,
here
we
it's
got like
just like,
Memorial Day coming up.
yeah, it's just public holiday.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Canada had what Saint Victoria or not Saint Victoria, Queen Victoria Day.
Yeah, I mean we have like May Day, which is basically a quasi pagan thing,
Sure. Well, what
which
isn't these days?
no longer acknowledged as such, but
All right,
that's just the
Tanner.
way things go.
Hold on. Oh my God. Give me a second.
Okay. I looked away from my screen because I was answering a text and then looked up and you're just there with a cat.
Yeah, she gets all up in my shit.
Well, that's what cats do.
All up in my shit. She don't care about no podcast.
That's cats for you. They give no fucks.
Yeah. Sons of a bitches.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's record a podcast and talk about video games.
Them games. Yeah, man.
Oh, am I hosting?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay, all right. I'm so sorry.
I can host if you want me to. I don't mind.
Oh, no. It's fine. I can pull it up. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Okay, now I get the old count me in thing. Okay. All right. Talking games show notes. You're going to carry the news. I'm sorry. Doesn't see. And honestly, there's not much in the way of news from what I can understand.
No, I've just put about the Battlefield announcement, and that's pretty much it. So
yeah, there doesn't seem to be too many thrilling things.
No,
out in the world. Okay, cool. All right. Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Talking Games. This is episode 197. Today is May 25th, 2018. I am Matt Wood, your host, joined by Hugh Perry.
Hi.
And no one else.
Just the two of us.
Ooh.
We can make it if we try. That's basically my tradition. Every time I do a duo.
A duo?
One of these, I have to sing
a
that.
Duo?
Yeah, a duo.
A duo.
A two duo.
We speak American here, Hugh. Sorry.
But, sorry.
We don't say duo, we say tuo.
Tuo, okay.
Because it's two, not do.
That's true. Well, I suppose due comes from the Latin.
Yes.
Of which English is a derivative. So just get my pipe out and school you on some language. I'm just making it up in my. I'm guessing due or duo is Latin. I don't know. I'm not 70, so I didn't do Latin in school.
So. Well. Yeah, that was always a thing in like British schools. Is it not anymore?
No, I mean.
I'm sorry. In the UK, I'm so sorry. But that was always a thing, like studying Latin. I know that was really heavily focused on. Is it not so much in?
No, I mean, I think
in Wales.
I mean, it wasn't when I was in school. I think it might be one of those things that's kind of taught maybe more in schools where the rich and well-to-do send their children, shall we say? So not people like I, the rabble. But yeah, I mean, we did like, actual useful languages like French and German.
Right. Yeah.
No
Yeah.
Spanish, which is weird.
Yeah.
But yeah. So hey ho. Not that I remember much of the French or German I learned.
No.
I mean, I'm struggling to remember most of the English I learned most of the time.
I
so.
know. I took 3 years of Spanish and I got nothing.
Mm.
You know, I mean, I got
See.
basic stuff, but I can't like carry a conversation on or anything like that.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know. They seem to focus on the foreign language skills kind of like in high school, and I feel like it makes way more sense to do it at a younger age.
yeah, that's one thing. Like, obviously, here in Wales, we're kind of. I mean, I don't know in Scotland how much like Gaelic they teach in the schools, but like obviously in Wales, Welsh is a thing. But it's an incredibly difficult language to learn. So unless you do it at a very like a young age, which when I was in what we call primary school, I guess it would be kindergarten to you guys.
Like a elementary kind of school.
Yeah, sort of like up until you're like 9, 10 years old.
Yeah.
There was very little Welsh taught in my school, and then it was like one lesson a week in high school. And for a language which, say, like learning French and German and say like Italian and Spanish, they're all Latin derivatives. So, you know, they, as English speakers, you can kind of recognize parts of those languages as being familiar to you.
Right.
Whereas Welsh is like derived from like an old Celtic language,
Right, and
so it's like
completely
one of
different.
the oldest languages in the world. Like
Right.
Welsh literally has like technology. There's very few words for technological items in Welsh. So one thing that the Welsh love to do is make up silly names for like pieces of technology. So the Welsh for oven is popdi.
I
So
prefer that, I think.
microwave. I think there is actually now a Welsh word for microwave, but microwave is affectionately known in Wales as popdi ping. So it translates as the oven that goes ping.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
That's
So
better.
that's a little Welsh lesson for you.
Ah,
So yeah. So
yeah.
so
Well,
unfortunately,
yeah.
I think maybe when I have kids, I am going to send them to like Welsh language school so they can learn Welsh when they're younger. So hopefully, I will start picking some up through necessity then, because it is a. I mean, it's not like the predominant language in Wales is English, and that's kind of on the back of the fact that for many years the teaching of Welsh was banned.
Yeah, that's never good.
No. It's one way to try and kill off a language.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, it's slowly making like the number of Welsh speakers is growing, but you know, it's taking time.
Nice. Yeah. Well, that concludes our episode of Talking Etymology.
Now let's talk
but-
things that are built with code and
Yes,
video games.
Yes. Let's talk about the thing that is bringing our culture down or together,
Yeah,
depending on how you want to look at it.
Yeah, causing kids to go and do stuff that they shouldn't.
Yes. Or yeah. Here's the thing. It's last week at school, and the past week we've had finals, so our afternoons have been kind of clear.
Yeah.
So I brought my PlayStation to work,
Nice.
and we've been playing like Rock Band and stuff like that because, of course.
Because it's you.
Yeah, exactly. But the kids will see the kids will see like the PlayStation and stuff, and they get all excited because they think, "Oh my God, like what the fuck are we gonna do?" And I have to break their hearts and say, "You ain't touching it."
This is
but
for Mr. Wood.
Yeah, this is for the adults
Yeah.
who are supposed to be grading your papers.
Fortnite is not installed on this thing.
Well, yeah, exactly, and that's some of the kids will ask about Fortnite, but I heard a couple of kids say, something along the lines of like Fortnite is just it's out, like it's.
Oh, it's becoming not hip
Mm,
anymore, is it?
I guess so. I think we're seeing. I don't know. I don't know, but I have to kind of say, as cliche and as you know weird as it might sound, I do have to kind of keep my ear to the train tracks of these kids sometimes to like pick up on like what is what is quasi hip or whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess as far as Fortnite is concerned, that or as far as these few of these kids are concerned, that it's not as awesome as it used to be.
Well, the thing is,
So,
like,
hmm.
I don't mean this in like speaking ill of the game in any way, shape, or form, but as with everything that explodes like that and is played by
Sure.
young people and people like me with short attention spans,
Right.
it's gonna end up plateauing at some point. So I mean, I know a few people who are just kind of like, I've played that game to death and I'm done with it.
Yeah, I purposely burnt myself out on it.
Yeah. So, and I guess the numbers are going to diminish eventually, just
Hmm.
by the natural course of things. So it'll be interesting
Right. I
to
mean, it's
see.
like with any big fad, you got like a month and a half before you get to like separate. Okay, who is here just to kind of enjoy the initial thing, and then who's here to like who's here for like the long haul. Like I'm like think Pokemon Go, for example. Like
Yeah.
there's of course still people playing that, but most people have kind of fallen off.
Yeah, and I mean, there is a propensity to keep people involved in things like that. I mean, you look at Overwatch,
Yep.
the player base for Overwatch is still slowly, in terms of like how many people have played the game, they've not long hit 40 million. So, you know, I think with Overwatch, they've done a very good job of keeping people interested with new maps, new characters, the Overwatch League, and their questionable players. So like Fortnite have just well, not Fortnite, Epic have just
Mhm.
actually injected or committed to inject $100 million into Fortnite tournaments. So I'm guessing the pro scene for that I mean, it's already there, but I don't think it's quite like prominent as other like pro leagues. So I would hazard a guess that soon we're gonna start seeing like really big Fortnite tournaments that are shouted about with maybe, I don't know whether they're gonna have like pro teams involved, maybe like Cloud9 and Optic and FaZe, or they're gonna invite streamers like Shroud and Ninja and Summit to come and play with it. But there's a massive prize pool of money there. Because I was reading the other day, I think I can't remember, was it? No, I don't know if I heard him right, but I'm sure Ninja said like so far the last I think he said 9 weeks. Epic have made something ridiculous like $250 million from the sale of like skins in Fortnite.
Wow. Gosh.
So hence them just being able to go, yep, here's a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
Let's get a pro scene going that's got a fair weight of money behind it. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that.
Yeah, understood and appreciated. But yeah,
but not supported.
But not supported. Exactly right. Yep. Let's talk about some of the games that we've been playing. You know what, Hugh? I'm gonna be selfish. I'm gonna take the first step.
Do it. I want you to, because you've got a glorious game to speak about.
It is one of my favorite games, and it has. I didn't pick it up when it first came out. Shadow of the Colossus for PlayStation 4. Like I'm talking about, like I've played this on the PS2. I played it on the PS3 when that Eco Shadow collection came out.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh my god, this game will never look better. Oh. I don't know, man. I'm willing to say that Easily, this is the definitive Shadow of the Colossus.
Nice. Yeah,
I mean,
I need to pick that up. I need to pick it up because I love that game. It's stunning.
right. I gotta admit, like I haven't seen what other people are saying about it. I just I'm kind of going off of like my own memory of Shadow of the Colossus, and it feels right. It feels great, and it looks amazing. So I have to assume that everyone. I mean, what's the reception on this thing? Do you know?
As far as I know, I think it was received like really, really well.
Right.
I
I
think
think a lot of people initially when they heard that it was coming out because they made an announcement at E3, like at the PlayStation stage, and honestly, I don't think that was probably the best place to announce a. Oh Jesus, it's what 13-year-old game.
I guess yeah.
Yeah. It's like unless you're gonna do something completely dramatically different with it, like say like the Final Fantasy VII remake. I don't think like an HD remaster is the best place to like the E3 stage is not the best place to like because that's not people don't want to hear that about that stuff. Those things are almost a dime a dozen, and ultimately this does not add anything to Shadow of the Colossus. If you played Shadow of the Colossus, it's not like you're not getting something that you haven't already played. It's just a beautiful version of that thing.
Because I think I remember watching because Jacksepticeye did a playthrough of it on his YouTube channel, and it's like he's obsessed with that game. I think it's probably like his favorite game of all time, if I'm not mistaken.
It's up there for me.
And I think I remember him saying something about like some of the audio has been tweaked, like the sounds have been sort of refined and re-recorded and stuff like that.
It does look like a little bit of an overhaul. Like I will have to give it that credit, but like it's
and I think the controls have been tweaked slightly as well.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, it's still. I mean, that's the thing about Shadow is it was always kind of a. It never felt perfect, Like there was always like when you like jump and you have to grab onto something. Like there was a lot of times where you're like, okay, I'm probably not going to land this, like when you're climbing up on one of the beast, and your stamina bar is about to deplete, and you have to make that last desperate jump. And there's always a good chance that you just fall off and have to just start right back up.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't necessarily. I mean, if there are changes, they have to be pretty minor.
I think it was more just sort of refinements because I think it was just sort of like how the movement handles and stuff like that. I don't think it was like a major overhaul, and I think maybe even just sort of like which buttons do what, like the layout of the controls was maybe just sort of made a bit more user friendly.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm not good with more modern games, especially things like this. Like for example, if someone changes the controls on say like Mario Brothers 3, like immediately, like I'll be like, no, this isn't because it's like muscle memory almost. But like say like something like this, like. I have to like relearn a few of the controls of things like pulling out your bow and switching out from your sword. But I mean, it's kind of one of the nice things about Shadow is it's such a minimalist game. I gotta be honest, dude. I've enjoyed what I've played of God of War. It's taken me a while to get into it. I still haven't fully gotten into it. I mean, apparently, obviously, but the fact that I'm playing once again a 13-year-old game.
I think with God of War, I think the fact that like when it came out, I was just like, right, this is the only thing I'm playing right now, and I played it for like several hours at a time. So I think unless you can sort of
that's exactly what I'm not
put
doing.
Time into it like that. I think it probably is a tricky game to get yourself going in.
But back to one of the things I was saying is that that game has a lot of mechanics, right? It has a lot of like You can like tweak various, I guess moves and attacks and things like that. And there's something about Shadow and the fact that it's like you got a sword, you got a bow, you know,
Yeah.
and that's it.
Yeah, and
And
there's
you don't
no
upgrade it.
upgrades or anything like that, is there? Yeah, so
Nah, the only thing that you get is that you upgrade like your stamina and your health,
hmm.
and that's about it. I think you also upgrade like your ability to breathe underwater. I think I'm not that far into it.
Yeah, I think I
Uh,
remember that happening. It's
yeah,
so
because you
long
fight
since I
you
played it.
fight. Yeah, you have to fight like a sea monster, a sea
Hmm.
colossi
Yeah,
at some point.
Colossi.
But my God, that game, like it's it that music is incredible. Like it really is, I think, one of the best experiences ever created in video games.
Yeah,
I think
and
Shadow of the
I
Colossus.
think that's the best word for it is an experience. Like
Right.
it's just like you say, like remarkable in its simplicity.
Yeah,
Um,
and it's so refreshing that like in the industry where anything that's successful is beaten into the ground. Like we've never received a sequel to Shadow of the Colossus. We've
yeah,
never, we've gotten a couple of remakes, but I think honestly that's because it does need to be accessible.
yeah. And have Team
And
Ico ever done any sequels?
no, I
I can't
mean
think of
they've
any off
done
the top
what,
of my
three
head.
games, right? Eco, Last Guardian, and Shadow, right?
Hmm. Yeah,
I mean it took what 10 years for Last. It couldn't have been 10 years. Was it 10 years for Last Guardian?
it was a chunk of time because I think originally they announced it was going to be on PS3, and then
Yeah. Yeah. Oh no, it definitely was. It
they
definitely
delayed
was.
it.
I think at the very least it was at least 6 or 7. It was Last Guardian was an embarrassing.
Yeah, I still haven't played
uh,
that. I need to.
I have it. I haven't either. Yeah, and that's the thing
Because I've
too. I
heard
don't know why.
I've heard it's good, but I heard it's it has a lot of frustrating things about it. So
Right. I'm wondering how much of that is also just uh, a bit of like expectations of this game took this long
yeah,
to
and
make.
also the weight
So
of like what's come before it. Because
yeah.
Ico is a great game as well.
But
Um,
yeah, if you play it today, you're like, okay, like that's the way with Shadow a little bit. Like there's some very clunky things in
mhm.
that game. Like you get on the horse and turning around is just kind of like, oh, it's very clunky. But
Yeah,
but I don't know. I still think that game is incredible. I'm having a blast playing it again.
it is. Yeah, I mean it's there's no two ways about it. It's like it
Mhm.
is a classic. Like it's
It
just
still is. It's still in like honestly, I was impressed because in video games we see so much now. Like in God of War, there's some amazing set pieces and things like that. But it really is fascinating to see that effect of when you see your first Colossus, and it's just like you feel impossibly small against something that you have to not only scale but also bring down. I don't know. It still feels like that sense of like it just uh I guess weight. It's still there, and I thought that was very cool because I was wondering if that would just be kind of a dated concept, but it's not. It's still awesome.
yeah. I mean that's the thing. I mean because the world is like I mean, to the best of my recollection, there isn't a huge amount in it. So a
No,
lot of
it's
the
pretty bare.
time, like you do feel you spend a lot of that game feeling very small. And like you say, when you first
Right.
come up against the Colossus, and you just sort of like look up at it, and you realize that you've got to climb like up its legs, up its
Yeah.
back, and then you've got to stab it in the head, and whilst clinging on for your life and stuff like that. And it's
Right.
and then
Yeah, and that's
when it goes down, it's just like the crash it makes, and the fact that you fall with it, and it's
yeah.
just such a brilliantly sort of well thought out, like well designed experience.
Yeah, I mean that's an excellent point where you bring about the map and how like it's just there's nothing there, and you're by yourself. Like the only creatures that are there, it's your horse, and 16 colossi, and because of that that barren kind of just like valley landscape. Yeah, when you see a colossus, it is jarring because you go from nothing to
Yeah.
just like oh I gotta climb this building shaped creature
Mm-hmm.
and stab it in its head.
Yeah, multiple times.
Right.
But yeah, I'm gonna have to get that remaster of that game because, like I said, I can't remember whether I got the HD remaster for PS3. I mean, regardless, it's a long time since I played that game, so maybe it's time for a revisit.
Yeah, and it's not. I don't think it's that much. I borrowed a copy, but I think it's like $40 or something. So it's probably already on sale.
Yeah.
Like games usually are.
Yeah, I'll check it out, see how much it is. So
Yeah.
You got me
So tell me
thinking.
about Destiny 2 expansions. Peggle.
Peggle, yeah, boy.
Tell me about Peggle.
I'll start with Peggle. Yeah, I subscribe to EA Origin on my PC, and they kind of do like similar thing to like Twitch Prime and stuff like that. Now they give, I guess they always have, but every now and then they have a free game. And the most recent one was Peggle, and I've always heard like good things about it. Like if you like things like Bejeweled and sort of puzzle games like that,
Yeah.
this is a really like good one of like a game of that ilk. It's not a match 3 game, but so yeah, I was like, screw it, I'll download it, I'll give it a try. And like, if you've never played Peggle, the basic concept is you have basically like a cannon at the top of the screen, and it follows your cursor wherever you sort of put it on the screen, and you have loads of little dots around. At least, well, early levels you have loads of little dots on the screen, and some of them are colored orange, and your basic objective is before you run out of balls, you have to eliminate all of the orange pegs. So you get, like, if you score, basically every time you shoot the ball, every peg you hit, you score points for. So I think every time if you score over 20 points, 20,000 points with one ball, you get an extra ball. And there's also kind of like this, like a slide-in thing at the bottom that goes back and forth, and it's got a hole in it. And if you get it in the hole, you get an extra ball there. And it's just like ridiculously simple, yet like insanely addictive. Like, it's just one of those like one more level type games where you'll just play it for ages, and you're like, yeah, I think I'll do this level. Oh, I've done it. Yeah, I'll do the next one too.
Yeah.
But it's good. Like, it kind of like it starts you off simple. It's just a case of like clear all these yellow dots, but then like it starts adding in sort of like flat rectangular pieces that are joined together, so you'll have like an orange piece like in the middle of all these other blue pieces, and you've got to get rid of those. And then later levels you'll have like shapes made out of those flat pieces which are rotating or like moving around the screen. And it's just like, if you enjoy sort of, I guess you could say it's like a physics-based puzzle game, really, because there is part of it is basically sort of like, right, I can sort of, if I aim at this sort of edge of this orange ball, I can like cannon off that onto another ball, and then you can sort of kind of plan out like where you think the trajectory of the ball is going to be, and maybe try and sort of do some make up some trick shots for yourself. So I'm not sure if it might have been Justin who mentioned it to me ages ago, saying that he like really likes that game. It might have been Justin. But yeah, like I was just like, I'll download it, I'll give it a go, and it's really, really good fun.
Right. And in this day and age, like, puzzle games are kind of a dime a dozen.
Yeah.
And it's Peggle's like what, about 10 years old now?
Hmm.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. I
Um,
mean, it doesn't look a particularly great game by any means. Like, it's not even in
no.
like I'm playing it on my TV, and it's not even in like widescreen. It's like
Oh,
square
really?
format. Yeah, there's like black
It's funny.
borders either side of the screen. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's like
Yeah.
I'm assuming. Well, I don't know. Maybe if was it a mobile game originally because it's made by PopCap,
I don't
who
know. I remember it exploding on Xbox Live.
hmm,
So I don't know if that was like where it first hit big or if it was like on PC and like got popular there.
yeah,
Kind of like a Bejeweled, I guess.
yeah. But
Uh,
I would imagine you could
or
pick it
a
up fairly
oh
cheaply
god,
on
what
there.
was it? Snood? Was it Snood? What was a puzzle game?
Hmm.
I keep on remember. Hold on. I can't remember.
There are Peggle games for iPhone. There's one called Peggle
It was
Blast.
Snood. Yeah. But
Um,
yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, it's a good fun game.
Yep.
But unlike the somewhat buggy and frustrating State of Decay 2, which I also played. Thankfully, it's part of the Game Pass service on Xbox One, so I didn't pay anything more than my monthly subscription for it.
Sure.
I did a live stream of it, so if you wanna, it's archived. I'll back it up to YouTube sometime. But if you wanna go and check it out on our the archive of our Twitch streams, then go and check it out.
Mm.
There is a good game in there, but I just feel like this game really could have done with being given a more time to just be polished. Because I started it off and everything was going fine. Going around houses, looting, finding, parts for crafting stuff and
Mhm.
ammunition and guns and sort of, you similar to the first game, really, in that respect. And then you set up your first sort of, this is your first sort of outpost type thing, and you start getting a group of people together who are relying on you, and you have to find resources for, and so on and so forth. So I'm just, merrily playing away, and then all of a sudden the UI, as the entire screen, any kind of like notification on the screen, so like the mini map, my objectives in the corner, prompts to open doors and stuff like that, subtitles, descriptions of like what I need to do to complete a mission, just start bugging the fuck out. So like I had like strings of text coming up in the middle of the screen, and it was almost like someone had basically gone in and just picked out half of the letters that were in there. So all of the words,
Oh God.
it was just
Yeah.
like,
Uh,
and I was just like, what? And then things just started like flickering like a frigging neon sign that's just like crapping out. And I was just like, this is ridiculous. I can't tell whether like I can walk up to a door. I can't tell whether I'm able to open it or not because there's no prompt coming up. There's like, I don't know what direction I need to go in. I can't see my mission objectives. I was just like, I got to the point where I just like I sat in my chair and I just sat back and just sort of raised my arms in anguish and just like was like, Argh! I was sat there thinking to myself, how is it a game that's been given like this is the sort of
yeah.
since Sea of Thieves, which was it got a lukewarm reception. Everybody I know who played it is sort of disappointed in it. I know there's some people who have fun with the game, but this game was meant to be sort of like one of the the next killer app for Microsoft exclusives and the Game Pass service.
Right.
And I know it's not a full price game, so I don't expect it to be, the textures in the game to be, crisp and really nicely detailed. Like it doesn't it's not a particularly pretty looking game, which is fine. That doesn't bother me. But like the first sort of hour of playing it, I don't know whether everybody's playthrough will start like that or whether it just the game starts at a random time of day. But the lighting in it is terrible. Like I could not see a damn thing for ages, and the torch they give you is shit. Like you can see about 2 feet in front of you, which is like infuriating. Like I had people in chat, just like Bobby, like popped up in the chat on Twitch, and he was just like, "How can you see where you're going?" And I was like, "Right now, I'm not sure. Like I'm just guessing where things are." So
was this first State of Decay game good?
It, for its time, yes. I think it was one of those games that, like I downloaded it and played it for a few hours when I first got my Xbox, and I was like, oh, okay, I can see where, you know, a good current generation game can be made from this, you know, this frame. And like I said, there is a good game in there. Like they just need to
potential's
fix it.
there.
But the other problem is for me, from what I played of the first one, and I think I played maybe 8 hours of it. Right now, this game feels like pretty much more of the same. Like there's base building aspects to it, which are a lot more like involved than the first game, which is cool. I like that mechanic. It's, you know, it's got a lot of promise. Like you can sort of get your outposts and stuff, making med kits and so on and so forth, and you can build a garden so they become self-sufficient food wise and things like that. But the issue is, like, I think including the Twitch stream, I've played maybe 3 hours of the game. And I've already got like the one outpost that I have set up, complaining that there's no beds for them and complaining that there's no food for them and stuff like that. And the game isn't doing a very good job of explaining to me how I'm supposed to get food to these people, because everywhere I go, I'm not finding food. Like I managed to clear out and claim like a pizzeria, like that's the second place that I sort of claimed as one of my outposts, I guess, but like not my main base, but like an outpost. So I was like, great, okay, this is an eatery, so I'm guessing maybe food can come from there, and it's always got like a pizza symbol on it. And you go back, and it's almost as if the game is telling you, like, go here, you can get food, and you can take it back to your base. But I can't figure out, like, how that is meant to happen. Like, I walk around, I'm looking for things that I can pick up. If there's boxes, that like a stash that I need to search that has the food in, and it's just nothing there. So I think it's also frustrating if you're somebody who's new to it, which, like I am. I didn't get very far in the first State of Decay, and you shouldn't make games assuming that people have played the previous games in the series. It's not doing a very good job of sort of explaining to me, like, if you know, clear out and have enough reputation points to claim a restaurant or something like that as yours, you can go there every 30 minutes or something like that and get this much food and take it back to your base, and it'll give, you know, feed the survivors. Same with the whole bed situation. Like, I've got in my base, I've got too many people for the beds there, but when I unlocked it, it was fine, and I haven't picked up any new people, so I just don't know how that's happening. So
yeah, I'm looking at pictures of it right now.
Yeah, so far it's a very frustrating game. I think I I would probably get more out of it and be able to tolerate it better playing it with people, which you could do. But I haven't had a chance to do that. But it's it feels like regardless of what you can do to make it better for yourself, it's just a very, very rough around the edges game. And it's a shame because, like I said, I think this was a chance for them to take what they did in the original game, which I think was really well received. Like, I know people who love that game. And, you know, sort of really sort of expand on that concept and make it better. And I think it's just...
what's the price on this thing?
I think...
about, you know...
I think it's $30.
Okay.
I think over here it's 25 if you pay for it. But like I said, it's on the Game Pass, so I got it that way. Right. So like I said, I know it's not a full price game, so I don't expect it to look great.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, there should be an element of polish there, because I don't think a game like this is supposed to look too great. It's supposed to be kind of what it is, you know.
Yeah. But to me, it doesn't. It doesn't look that. Looks wise, it doesn't look that big of a leap from the first.
Right. I gotta say, dude, like this is. I'm looking at it, and granted, I don't know. I've never played it, but yeah, I don't see.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is
$15, $20 maybe. I think 30 seems like a tall order.
Yeah,
especially given as many problems as you say it has.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure they'll patch it and make it better. But that UI glitch, like how a game's been put out with that big of an issue.
Yeah.
On day, like, fine if it's there when you put it out, but day one patch, fix it. But the other thing is about it is the zombies in the game so far. Like, I've just run into, like, I think a game like that where, like, it's a survival game in its essence, the zombies should be, like, a threat. Like, you should be like, oh shit, there's a zombie. But, like, I started off and I was, like, creeping around them, but it got to the point where, like, they're not that big of a deal. Like, I was running into, like, groups of sort of, like, 6 or 7 zombies. You might take a little bit of damage because the zombies don't do a huge amount to you. And you can just go in there with a hatchet and just swing like crazy. Because at all times you've always got an NPC character with you. I say NPC, you can switch to controlling them, but, you know, you can't control 2 players at the same time. So I will call them an NPC. Who also engage in the combat, so they're like attacking the zombies as well. So, and it's just like the first time I went into like a group of zombies, because like the areas you clear it, sometimes you come across them and they've got like there's 8 zombies in this area, and I can't remember what they call them. Some like is this one type of zombie that screams and basically attracts other zombies, and you clear those areas out, and then that's it, they're clear type thing. So it's just like, okay, I'll take this tent, like, really careful. All the zombies started swarming on me, and I was just like, okay, hack. Oh, I've done it. And then, like, I had to use, like, one set of bandages, and I was, like, full health again. I was like, huh, okay. These zombies are, like, you know, this apocalypse is a slight hindrance. Like, the zombies aren't really that much of a bother. So, you know, I don't know why people get that hungry, really. They could just easily be out and about fucking getting food anywhere, because the zombies are just lame, really. So
yeah.
But, you know... And,
you know, I gotta say, I think we talked about this in the past. I'm a bit on zombie fatigue right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think in video games, it makes sense for zombies to be kind of a horde-ish type of villain.
Yes.
And I understand that. But I don't know, man. Like, between this and Days Gone, I just kind of...
Yeah, and I just look at it and think... don't get me wrong. I'm not done with it by any means. I'll
Sure.
I'm gonna keep playing it and see how they can evolve it and sort of fix the little issues with it. And I do want to try playing it with others, because I think you can play it with up to 3 others. But regardless of that, I think it's just, after Sea of Thieves, I think this is another Xbox exclusive that just falls short. And it's a shame, because they announced the Game Pass service, they announced these exclusives. Like, even before I got my Xbox, Bobby was like, oh, you can get State of Decay 2 is going to be, I think they refer to them as Play Anywhere titles, so you can play it on like Windows 10 PCs. And like he was saying, like earlier in the year, he was like, oh, I'm really excited to play this game with you. And I started looking to it. I was like, yeah, this game looks really cool. So it's just a shame that, you know, the Xbox exclusives just keep not quite hitting the mark. And I just think it's sort of so indicative of that console's lifespan so far. But yeah, it was frustrating, shall we say?
Yeah, I can imagine. I don't know. I don't know. It seems like it there's a particular group that would probably be very into it. I'm not there. I don't know. And it looks like I don't have much of a choice because I don't have an Xbox.
It's fair enough.
Let's look at what's next. You got some Destiny 2 expansions?
Yeah, I'll speak briefly about these. I was going to speak about them before. So I've been away from Destiny for quite a while now. And the second expansion came out a few weeks back, which is called Warmind. I hadn't played through the first, so I was like, right, okay, there's a good chunk of content waiting for me, because I kind of the post-end game for me just didn't really grab me, so I just fell off Destiny 2 like pretty fast after I'd completed the story. And I think these 2 expansions have been a bit mixed bag. Like the first one, Curse of Osiris, I enjoyed it to a point. Like there's some stunning visuals. Like you get to see some of the planets in the game before the Vex like take them over and just like ravage them, and it's like some of the like locations you go to are like stunning. But the missions end up being a bit repetitive, because the basic concept of it is that the Vex have this sort of program where they constantly run scenarios of like combat to sort of basically to see the best way to defeat their enemies. And you have to go into these scenarios and find this like big, I guess, kind of like a Vex god type thing that's like threatening to destroy everything. So you go into these things, and basically a lot of the missions are like you go in, and there's a group of enemies. A couple of them are like high level enemies. You clear them out, it unlocks this gate. You open the gate, you move on to the next section. And I don't know if it actually is, but the game kind of almost hints at as like those levels being procedurally generated, but I don't think they are. But quite a lot of the levels are that structure where it's just like go into this simulation, clear this bit out, unlock this gate, move on, boss at the end. And it just got a bit I think the story just about rescued that first expansion from being pretty dull, in all honesty. However, the Warmind expansion I've thoroughly enjoyed so far. Like they did a good job of stringing it out a little bit. I know that makes it sound like it's like a negative way, but the way that you have to, at least if you're at the light level I was at, or the power level rather, I was at when I finished the first expansion. I went into the second expansion, did the first mission, and then I needed to get stronger before I could carry on with the next story mission. So there's other stuff to do that you unlock within that. And it's just a much more sort of interesting story. Like there's a whole story about like this girl whose family created the Rasputin weapon, which is an AI, and so on and so forth. I won't spoil it if people haven't played it, but I'm enjoying it. I've completed it, but there's still stuff to go back to, and they've added a lot to sort of like the patrol areas. One thing which is pretty cool. They have. I'll speak quickly about them. They just have these things called escalation protocols, and basically you trigger them, and you like. I think the highest level one is like 380 power. So basically you trigger them, and there's like 4 waves of enemies, and you have to defeat the first 3, and then there's a boss. And I haven't seen anybody actually finish them yet. They're that difficult, but they're good fun, and it's nice to have like high level activity to do just as and when you want. So yeah, Curse of Osiris, okay, but Warmind, very good. And it's nice to be back in Destiny playing it. It's still a damn fine game to play.
I hear that a lot when people talk about Destiny. That it's like it seems like a game that people are like, yeah, for like 2 or 3 weeks, I get it really into it, then I take a break and I come back. You know, like it seems like it's not a game that people maybe not even like 2 or 3 weeks. People are like, okay, yeah, for like a week I get really into Destiny. Then, you know, I go away and then I come back whenever expansion comes out or something else happens. And I'm into like, I'm able to just kind of jump back in and like appreciate the familiarity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like that game, like as a shooter, just plays so well. Like it's a fun game to play. It's a fun shooter to play. So it scratched that itch for me. Right now. So yeah, I've enjoyed it. Like I said, a bit of a mixed bag. I'm interested to see what the third expansion is, because they said it's going to be like the biggest expansion they've ever done across the 2 games. So it'd be interesting to see where Destiny goes from there. So yeah.
Yeah, cool. Let's see. We got some news stories. Not a lot of news in the road to E3. What, we're 2 weeks out? 2 weeks out?
Yeah, it's almost like people are holding things back.
Man, they're trying to.
Yeah.
But various leaks. There was quite a few leaks last week.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is going to be a big E3.
I think so too.
I think a lot of things that I think we are. I mean, it was kind of announced. One of the higher ups over at Sony kind of made that announcement that the PlayStation 4 is entering its like winter months or whatever. Yeah. So I think we're going to be seeing a lot of the kind of tease games that we have seen in the past, like Final Fantasy VII, Kingdom Hearts 3, stuff like that. I think we're going to get a lot of that.
Yeah, and I think we'll finally get like a release date for like Last of Us 2.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And things like that. And I think we may well get like another couple of exclusive announcements. But I mean, the whole thing about
but what is the PlayStation conference? Like not like the PlayStation E3 conference, but like, PlayStation has their own like convention,
PSX.
PSX, yeah. When is that? Usually that's like what, the end of summer?
December? It's usually late in the year. I think
is it?
Is
okay.
Like November, December. But like, I think the thing is, if you look at it from a business point of view, them saying that the PS4 is entering its final phase, that's a very vague and broad term. I mean, the middle phase of this console's lifetime they regard as being the last 3 years. So the final phase, it could easily be that they mean that the PS4 has another 3 years left in it. So
Right.
it's like people
So
are
what
like
would that
running
make
a
it?
bit far with it, I think.
Came out in what, 2014, 2013?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think it's 5 years old.
8 years is respectable.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, that's a
I mean,
good.
they did
that's a
say
good one.
this generation could last as long as 10 years. So
Sure. I mean, with your the the whole quality of life stuff with like the PlayStation Pro and the Xbox, One S X, one. What's the fancy Xbox?
Xbox One X.
Hi, I'm hosting a video game podcast. Yes, thank you. But yeah. I mean, with that stuff coming out, like it makes sense. Like it to an extent whenever these things have been announced, like a couple of years ago, that they were
PS4
going to have
came
these
out
kind of.
November 2013.
Okay, all right, yeah. Yeah, but these like halfway console steps, started to come out. It kind of reminded me of the old days of things like the 32X and
Yeah.
the
Sega CD.
the odd expansions of trying to just squeeze the last drop of life out of something.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's clearly way better,
Mhm.
than those things ever were. But yeah, pretty good run. This is a discussion that I think we've had before. Is the PlayStation 4 better than the PlayStation 3, as in game wise, as far as? Exactly, right.
I mean,
kind of think.
there's
I
been
think
some.
PS3. PS3 was an amazing machine.
Yeah. Better, maybe not. Like equal, I would say. Like I wouldn't say that there was. That there's by far and away I could give you a list of PS4 games that's bigger than the list of great games that were on PS3. So I don't know. I mean, to me, this kind of feels like the PS4 just seems like the natural continuation of Sony's sort of path. I think there's not as genuine like, whereas in other sort of generations you've had like obvious sort of uplifts in the fortunes of, or the quality of like stuff compared to the other. Like you look at the PlayStation 2 compared to the PlayStation 1, like the PlayStation 2 is just like a phenomenally popular console with like some all-time classics. And the PS3 I think was kind of off the back of that a solid machine as well. And the PS4 I think they just kind of like very much just kept the pace, I think.
Yeah.
But I think one thing I will say for PS4 is I think in terms of exclusives, I think we've probably gotten a better run this generation.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I always thought that the PS3 had better exclusives than the 360. I know there are people that would argue that, but I don't think it's a contest at all.
Yeah, and I don't think this generation's been a contest either.
Oh, no.
One of the executives at EA basically kind of like, through what he said, a lot of the press had kind of like garnered from it that I think the PS4 is like sold more than double the units of the Xbox One.
Yeah.
And that's a big gap, and like I think that goes back to what I just said about State of Decay 2 and Sea of Thieves. Like PUBG was a big get for Xbox, but as great as that game is, it's not enough. And essentially that game's still like that's still an early access game. It's not full release quality. It's
yeah, and it wasn't enough when it came Like had PUBG came out, like I remember this time last year, or like
Yeah.
what about say June, July of well, no, it was because PUBG was announced for Xbox One at E3, and so it was already pretty established as
Yeah, it
a
kind of blew up sort of like around
yeah
April time, I think. PUBG was when it
yeah
really like exploded, I think. Um, but yeah, I just think the Xbox One is a fantastic machine, and I'm really like happy with it. Like it's a great bit of kit, and the Game Pass as a concept is fantastic, and it's some fucking great games that you can play on it.
hmm yeah
Um, like you can play all of the Gears of War games on there. It's a shame that they haven't got Halo on there, but then I guess they got to hold something back. Um, but a lot of the great games that are on there are games that you can play on other consoles. I mean, don't get me wrong. The fact that you can get Game Pass and play Rise of the Tomb Raider on it, that's a pretty cool thing. But
right
that could go away, like it could get taken away. But I mean, there's even things like Pro Evolution Soccer are on there at the moment. So I mean, they've made some good steps with some of the ideas they've had with the Xbox, but I just think that this generation, the past sort of 5, 6, 7 years, Sony with their exclusives are just nailing it.
right
Like pretty much every exclusive that comes out for PS4 is just like at least like a very good game, if not
yeah
like God of War is gonna be a very very hard game to beat for Game of the Year, and
yeah it's
we've
definitely a
got like
contender.
fucking Spider-Man coming in September.
hmm
That's another PlayStation exclusive. Like who like for
On
Sony to
top
be
of Detroit, on top of Days Gone, on top of
yeah
all these other games that are just going to like maybe like Detroit, maybe I actually hear like I can't I guess it was who was I talking to about Detroit? I think Danica mentioned that yeah, she's hearing like bad things about it, and
I've seen
you know
different reviews. Some say that it
right.
does some of its stuff very well, but it's like it has its issues. I think it sounds like one of those games that's kind of like dividing people. I think so far
hmm
because the
right.
review embargo lifted today. I think.
Yeah, and honestly, it's like, oh, it's a game from the people that made Beyond Two Souls,
Beyond Two
Beyond Two
Souls, yeah.
Souls. Yeah, uh, yeah, like oh, it's a divisive game. No, it's a huge surprise. It feels like every game they put out, there's a big
Yeah,
wedge that
and
people
I
are
think
like, oh no, this is actually a great game, or it's not at
yeah,
all.
and I think the whole thing around it was his name escapes me now. The guy who heads up the developer.
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
I
Yeah.
don't think that goes for it. Not that you should judge the game on that, but I think there's like sales of it might be affected by that.
hmm
Um, I mean, I'm not overly bothered about playing it. Like I enjoyed Beyond Two Souls, but I found it a bit of a slog to get through because it's
Sure.
just not my thing. Um, so I think it might be a wait and see on that one for me. But I mean, um, some press outlets were saying that they've had like hands-on gameplay with Days Gone, and some of them were saying that right now
Oh.
it doesn't. It seems a bit underwhelming.
Mm. Mm.
Um, so like I'm not opposed to there being more zombie games, but it's one of those. If you're gonna go into a genre like that, you've got to give me something that does something different with that. And if it's an open world as well, you need to like put a stamp on it that's gonna separate it from things like Horizon and so on and so forth. So but it's a ways off. Yeah, I mean it's been
Yeah.
delayed till 2019, and maybe that's
Oh,
why
has
it's
it?
yeah.
Oh,
Um,
jeez, man. I don't know. I just feel like with Days Gone, it's like just get it out, just get it out. I hate to say it, but I don't know. I'm kind of getting like flashbacks to the Order, you know, where it's like you've beat the drum on it too long. Like just put it out. We'll make the best of this. You know, you got so many other great games kind of surrounding it that you could like, oh, there's Spider-Man, there's God of War. Oh, and there was these other games, you know, like I don't want
Remember this
I don't want Days Gone to come out at a time when it's like, here's the PlayStation exclusive for like 3 months, you know?
Yeah.
That's a bad situation, you know? Hopefully it'll release sometime like around like, I don't know, I've heard good things about Dreams,
Yep.
you know? Like
People rave about what they've played of that every time I see anything about it. So
yeah.
yeah, I forgot about that. That does look like a cool game.
Yeah, I mean, while it might be my type of thing, like I'm not big into like no, I love Mario Maker, but it might not be something that I'm like crazy in for. It looks like a great one of those games that people love, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
And that's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Well, I guess that's gonna kind of wrap it up for this episode.
Yeah, I mean, I can speak briefly about Battlefield 5.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll just run through the basic details. So the other day there was a reveal show for Battlefield 5, which was really, really good and quite funny actually, because Trevor Noah was presenting it, and it was fun to watch. So it's set in World War II. The way you can play it, this might be a lot to get your head around. So basically, if you're getting it on PC, you buy it via Origin. The standard release date for it is October the 19th. But if you subscribe to Origin Access and pre-order the game, you'll be able to access a free trial early on October the 11th. If you pre-order the deluxe edition, it will open the game up on October the 16th. I looked earlier on the PSN, and the deluxe edition is 80 quid, so it's not going to be cheap. However, there is no premium pass for this Battlefield game. All post-launch content, maps, whatever else they release, events, will all be free. There'll be no paid downloadable content. I had to say that correctly, because there will be paid cosmetic purchases. So yeah, there's a lot of like cool new stuff. There's like a lot of customization options. So whereas before each class kind of had its own look and that was it, now I think you can basically like be like, I'm going assault class, I'm gonna be a female, I'm gonna have this face paint on, this hat, this jacket, these shoes, whatever, so on and so forth. There's new modes coming. There's new like monthly events. There's a new version of operations called Grand Operations, which they say will take an hour to get through and sort of tells the story of a battle over 4 days. And there's a lot of cool new stuff. New mechanics, like if you're a medic, you might sometimes have to drag the person to safety before you revive them, because they want to get rid of the revive chains, where you could literally be like, syringe everybody, you're all alive again. There's other mechanics where like you can shoot grenades out of the air, but you can also pick grenades up, throw them back. The replacement for the gas mask mechanic, which was in Battlefield 1, is now a toolbox, so you can build fortifications for buildings. So if a building gets destroyed by a tank, you can sort of build it back up a little bit, with sort of a temporary sort of shack type looking thing. You can build sandbag walls, you can dig foxholes for snipers, and there's what else? There's stationary weapons that you can just drag into position as opposed to them being sat in one place. There is now a lot more destruction in the world, which is crazy to me because there's already a lot of destruction in it. You can customize the vehicles and weapons. And there's also, I think, which is a new mechanic, which I think is kind of similar to something they do, like what they do in COD. You can call in reinforcements. So I think you can the one it mentions, which is in the trailer, is you can call in a V1 rocket, which basically just like drops a bomb in an area of the map and just makes things go nuts. So yeah, they're gonna do a gameplay show at EA Play, which I think is just before E3 because they kind of do it as a separate
Right, yeah,
thing.
they do that thing where
it's like
they're not.
We're at E3, but we're not at E3.
We're taking advantage of E3, but
yeah,
we're not at E3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited for it. Like I'm a big as of Battlefield 1, I'm a big Battlefield fan. Don't get me wrong, I wasn't like I wouldn't say I played that much of the games before it, but Battlefield 1 is a game I absolutely love and still play a lot of. Right. So I am stoked for it. And there's the archive of the live stream I did for the reveal on our YouTube channel if you want to watch that, and I recommend it because it was really funny as well as being informative as well. And also I'm going to say a big fuck you to all the people who complained about the fact that there's a female soldier in the trailer who has a prosthetic arm, because there were female battalions in both World War I and World War II. One of the most celebrated snipers in military history was a Russian lady who fought in World War II. Also, the prosthetic arm she has is a stabilizer, which was used commonly in the Second World War. So, if you don't like women or people with prosthetics, go fuck yourself. And that's my rant over. And that's the bottom line.
Oh, there you go. Now you're speaking my language.
Here we go.
Yeah, my subscription to the network is expiring. I'm gonna have to let it die.
Okay.
It's fine. It's fine. It's okay. All right. Sorry. This is where I'll get my occasional subtle wrestling joke.
Well, yeah, that's fine. If you, as long as you want it from the Attitude Era, yeah.
Exactly.
Let's face it, wrestling hasn't been good for about 15 years.
No, that's for another show. That's for another show.
I knew you'd react to that. That's why I said it.
Oh yeah, you definitely pinched a nerve there. Yeah, absolutely. Well, if you want to push our buttons, let me tell you where you can go. We are there's multiple ways to contact us. You can email us at games@talkingcomicbooks.com. We have Twitter. At talking_games. YouTube, which you might be watching us on right now, youtube.com/talkinggamesvideos, twitch.tv/talkinggames. You can also subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. Just look for Talking Games. Make sure to leave us a comment, a review. It really does help, especially on iTunes, because most of our listeners are on iTunes. Pretty much like every podcast. If you like a podcast, give it a review. It helps it out more than you can imagine.
Tell your friends as well, please. Like, if you like what we do, share it and shout about it, because we want to grow this thing, especially our Twitch. Like, I would love for us to have do Twitch streams where we've got 20, 30, 40 people watching us, and maybe even one day we can become a Twitch partner and do cool stuff around that, and wear purple t-shirts with the glitch on it, like nerds. So yeah, please spread the word.
Well, you mentioned maybe becoming a Twitch partner. We are a humble partner.
We are.
You can find links in the show post on the Talking Comics website for Talking Games. So there are plenty of ways of getting in touch with the show and plenty of ways of getting in touch with us. Hugh, where can the people contact you?
I am at H_Paz on the Twitters.
And I am at Johnny Matt Wood on both Twitter and Instagram. ASMR. I put the ASMR. I don't know what I'm doing. All right.
It was funny though.
Yeah, it made me laugh, which is pathetic. Well, I guess that's gonna do it for this week. Thank you, Hugh.
Thank you, Matt.
And until next time, dear listeners, be good to one another.
Yeah, we out.